Kingston in New Orleans. Thank you.
Kirsten Kukowski is the press secretary for the Republican National Committee. She joins us from Washington, D.C. this morning, and she is smiling. So how does it feel this morning to be on the road to controlling the House and the Senate?
You know what? It feels great. We're tired. Not much sleep here at the Republican National Committee, but it feels good. We knew we were going to do well last night going in, but as always, election days are full of nerves, and we didn't know exactly how well we were going to do. And I think it was an earlier night than we thought. We knew status of some of these races, like Colorado, like Iowa, like North Carolina, a lot faster than we thought we would. There's still more work to be done, like you guys were just talking about. Louisiana is now going to a runoff, and that is very disappointing to Mary Landrieu. Her strategy was winning outright yesterday, and that did not happen, and didn't happen by a long shot.
So what's on the agenda now that wasn't on the agenda before?
On the agenda as far as holding the Republicans in the Senate?
Legislation.
Of course. Well, I think that Senator McConnell actually did the weekly address this last weekend and talked a lot about how we're going to start sending legislation, pieces of legislation that frankly had already been drafted by the House and it had been waiting in the Senate for Harry Reid's attention. But because of his obstructive ways and him not wanting to send things to the president, things hadn't been getting done. So I think you're going to see a lot of jobs bills and a lot of conversation about how to get this economy back on track.
I want to ask you a question, and it's a tough one. When President Obama won, Mitch McConnell, who was then the minority leader, said his #1 priority was to make Barack Obama a one-term president. Is this a case of what's good for the goose, good for the gander?
Well, you know what? I think that there's a lot that's been happening over the last couple of years, and part of this is the way that the president has been working with Republicans and, frankly, all of Congress. You have people in his own party who have shaken their head, wondering out loud in the press, why isn't this president working with Congress? He has a go-it-alone approach on a lot of things. And so I think that the environment has been toxic, and I think that we as a party need to start moving forward.
I guess the question is, what would you say then if the president came out and in his news conference this afternoon said that his #1 priority is to make Mitch McConnell a one-term Senate Majority Leader?
Well, I think the voters were pretty clear last night that they were voting against the do-nothing ways of Washington and Washington gridlock. And I think that everyone, Republican and Democrat, needs to take that to heart. And there are a lot of things that we can work with this president on. A lot of things that, frankly, had passed the House on a bipartisan basis that can now go into the Senate, have a conversation, and can go to the president's desk. So I think that it would be very good for this country and very good for both parties if we were to start taking a look at where there's common ground and where we can start making up some ground on the economy and healthcare. Frankly, that's what Americans voted for last night.
We asked our expert this question a short while ago. I'll ask you, which Republican Party won last night? Was it the conservative wing or the Tea Party wing?
You know what? I actually disagree with that question. We are one party. There are a lot of different leaders in our party, which I think is a very good thing for us. It's a big conversation, and we're going to continue having it. I think that, you know, the Republican Party won because we came to the table and said the last 6 years under President Obama and the Democratic Party policies is not what Americans want right now. They want change, and they don't want obstruction in the Senate. They want to see things start moving forward, and you know, we want to see things get accomplished. So that's the party that won last night.
And are you confident now that Mitch McConnell will be that agent of change?
Well, I take him at his word, and I think he has laid out a vision, and that is part of the reason why he was so successful in Kentucky against Allison Lundergan Grimes. So I think that it's going to be very exciting time in Washington, a very exciting time for Americans.
Kirsten Kukowski, the press secretary for the Republican National Committee, thanks for being with us. And yes, you can get some sleep now.